The Whispering Well. In a forgotten village nestled deep within a shadowy forest, there was a well. It stood at the edge of the village square, abandoned and sealed with rotting planks. No one dared go near it after sundown. Villagers spoke of voices, whispers that beckoned from the depths. Children were warned not to play near it, and those who did often returned pale and shaken, muttering of voices calling their names. One day, a curious traveller named Lydia arrived. She had heard the stories of the well but was unafraid. She thrived on the thrill of uncovering secrets and dismissed the villagers' warnings as mere superstition. "It's just an old well," Lydia scoffed. "A hole in the ground, nothing more." That night, as the moon bathed the village in an eerie glow, Lydia stood before the well. The wind seemed to sigh through the trees, and the faintest whisper floated up from below. Her heart raced, but her resolve was strong. She pulled the planks away, exposing the mouth of the well. Peering over the edge, she saw nothing but darkness. Yet the whispers grew louder, unintelligible at first, but gradually forming words. "Come closer," the voice said softly, a blend of male and female tones. It was hypnotic, drawing her in. Against her better judgment, Lydia leaned in, her hands gripping the stone rim. She listened, her ear almost touching the void. Suddenly, cold fingers brushed her arm. She gasped and jerked back, but as she did, something in the well moved. A pale figure began to emerge from the blackness, its features obscured by shadow. Its mouth twisted into a wide grin as it crawled toward her, skeletal hands gripping the stone. Lydia stumbled back, her heart pounding in her chest. She turned to run, but her legs froze. The whispers surrounded her, growing louder, more frantic, and then she heard it. Her own voice calling from the well. "Help me!" Lydia's mind raced. How could she be hearing her own voice? She looked back in horror as the figure now stood fully out of the well. It wasn't just a shadowy form anymore, it was her. An identical copy of her, but pale, cold, and devoid of life. Before she could scream, the doppelganger lunged forward, wrapping its icy hands around her neck. Lydia struggled, gasping for breath as the figure whispered in her ear, "I am free now." With a final gasp, Lydia was pulled into the darkness of the well, her scream echoing briefly before all fell silent. The next morning, villagers found Lydia standing by the well. She was smiling, but something was off. Her skin was too pale, her eyes too hollow. When they asked if she was all right, she simply nodded and whispered, "I am fine." But from that day on, every night, new whispers could be heard from the well, and if you listened closely enough, you could hear a voice, desperate and pleading, Lydia's voice still trapped deep within, calling for help.